Hey, good morning, guys. One of the questions I get from folks a lot, it's a question about different things that we do. People will say, hey, why do you do that? Or they'll question why we do stuff. And it's easy on our part to go, hey, listen, just trust us. We're doing this for a reason. We're trying to maximize profits just like you. We want to make the deal, every deal we can just like you. Understand that and trust us on that. And that's true. But I still get questions on certain things, the policies that we have or procedures, and figured I'd take a minute and give you guys a little more insight into why we do things the way we do things. One of them is I get people to go, hey, why is your minimum 15,000? It's a little less in Florida, but why is it 15,000? Okay, with the Florida program, it's less than that, but nationally it's 15,000. And they say, listen, I got a lot of stuff between 10 and 15. Well, the bottom line is we're not asking you guys as a researcher to send in files to actually check for judgments. And if there's a judgment recorded in the same county as where the house was foreclosed upon, and that judgment was in place prior to that foreclosure, that auction, that judgment also counts. But most of you guys in most counties, you can't check judgments online. So we check that for you. And by keeping it at 15 instead of 10, that gives us the ability to actually have judgments show up and still be able to work the file. Okay? So that's why we do that, because people go, oh my gosh, you're doing it because... No. We would rather do that than say, okay, the minimum's 10, but now we found a $3,000 judgment and we go, you know what? Sorry, we can't work it. Thanks for doing the research. No, now there's a better shot that we can actually work what we've had you send into us. Some light bulbs should have gone off there. Some people should have said, okay, I get it now. Another thing is, why have you pulled out of certain areas? Well, there's a couple of states, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, where we feel like the attorney generals are on a bit of a witch hunt. And that's not being derogatory against the attorney generals. It is what it is, okay? Sometimes we find, and we're certainly not so well-versed and experienced in this business that we know everybody's motive, but one of the things that we found consistently when you run into a rough state where they're being kind of tough on you, overly tough on people, is maybe someone has political aspirations, okay? And so they're trying to basically look good by putting people out of business, even if they're not doing anything incorrect. So Washington State, Oregon, and Colorado, we tend to avoid those. They've just been really difficult in the past, okay? Florida is a different system for us for a reason. That's another question. Like, hey, why do you separate Florida? Well, the statutes are so different that we had to go really in detail on how to handle that. There's some good and bad with Florida. The good is they actually, with their tax sales, they actually publish their own title work that they did at the county level. They publish that so you can use that. That's fantastic, saves you a lot of time. The bad news with Florida is, while they want to give the money back, they are very difficult on finders. They had surplus trustees, I believe they were called, appointed for a while. They've eliminated that system. Another good point with Florida is with the mortgage overages after a certain amount, or rather tax, after a certain amount of time, anybody that has a claim to the funds against, in front of the owner, a lien holder, a mortgage holder, after a certain time period, if they don't make that claim within that time period, legally they're not supposed to be able to make a claim, which of course helps us quite a bit. Okay, that's a good thing with Florida. The bad news is, we always use an attorney and we have them get the money out and have them use their trust account to break the money out. In Florida, we found the attorneys won't do that, so they have to be able to forward the check to you, third-party check made out to the claimant, and you have to be able to cash that. You're not going to be able to do that. Most people cannot cash third-party checks. We can. So Florida is primarily a researcher program for us. Okay. And there's certainly people doing things other ways and maybe doing things that may be a little more gray area, let's say, but we found our system works, and we've stayed out of trouble using it. So that's why we do it the way we do. We also don't work Washington, D.C. It's just dirty, and not just on the federal level, but on the local level. They're really trying to keep the funds, and they're being difficult. With the deed flip, we avoid a couple of areas. Primarily we're avoiding Philadelphia, and we're avoiding that for a reason. We've had such a difficult time in there that we've decided we can't do it anymore. The people have been too difficult. They would rather make no money and lose their property to a tax sale than make some money, but somebody else is also going to profit from the transaction. Literally, they'd rather do that. That's difficult. I've said in the past, city of brotherly love, because those guys are being really difficult up there. We finally just pulled out. The surplus up there, they actually in Philadelphia had a different department handling claims. They did that because the sheriff up there, in the past, a sheriff up there had been embezzling a lot of money. Actually, it's my understanding, sending the money offshore even. So as a result, they formed a different department because it was bad. That department has actually been difficult to work with, but we've just kind of broken that log jam using an attorney. We actually had to threaten motion to compel and have an attorney doing that. So that's made a big difference. But we do have quite a few files already turned in there. There's a bunch of areas that are a little different than others. Georgia is one of those, for you to do title work, in order to access their land records or their register of deeds type department, you have to pay a fee. It's $13 a month to check like 50 counties, something like that. But Georgia has they have tax sales every month, in I think all the counties. A lot of people won't work Georgia because they have to pay that $13. Guys, that's a barrier. Wherever you see a barrier, that means there's opportunity, because other people aren't willing to work it because they don't want to spend $13 a month. Don't get a latte once a week and you'll be fine. And there's a lot less competition as a result. New York, I'm hearing different from that. We haven't had files turned in to us for quite a while. I'm hearing, and this is hearsay, that people are getting, that it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get a claim up there. New Jersey, we're about to pull out of completely, because there's someone that I know personally that's actually not far from me geographically, that's been doing the business quite a long time, and he got hammered with a fine and can't do any business in Jersey anymore. And I know for a fact this person did extremely tight disclosure up front. And if he got a fine, anybody's going to get a fine. So we're probably going to pull out of Jersey. By the way, when you see that, guys, that's the states making a grab on the money. They just don't want to give it up. One of the things also I want to talk about is those of you guys that have our program and have been consistently turning stuff in. There's a list you can get in North Carolina, and that list is, you have to ask for it. There's some secret sauce way to ask for that. And if you are a member and you've been turning in files to us for some time, and you want kind of a different territory where you can check both mortgage and tax overages very easily, please email me. You can go to surplusfundsriches.com, click on email, and don't use support for this. Use contact us. I will check to make sure you bought, and I will check that you've turned in at least, say, 20 files. And if you've done that, I'd be happy to send you how you can get a list from North Carolina. I think that'll make a big difference for you guys that are looking for some virgin territory, okay? There's a special way to do that. Other than that, let's talk about some more why we do things the way we do it. At first, we limit you guys to sending it, turn in no more than 5 files and wait till you've had 5 accepted. You can tell because you'll be able to check the list you have access to of all of the files that we're working. Once you've turned in 5 that are accepted, okay, then you can turn in a limited amount. People have asked, why are you doing that? Why? because we've had people before turn in 20 right out of the chute, make mistakes on all of them, little mistakes. And you're going to make mistakes when you first start turning in, guys. It's normal. But we've had people make mistakes, turn in 20 and make mistakes on 20. And then we said, hey, you got to fix these. Here was the issue. They got discouraged and stopped working it. So wait until you get 5 right. You're going to make mistakes. That's fine. We'll tell you how to fix them. And then you can turn it in a limited amount, as fast as you can possibly turn them in. No problem. Support. Some people have asked, why don't you do support where it's a call-in? I know that there's a fellow online that with his program, he does 2 things. I want to address that. One is he gives out lists to people too, and people go, oh my God, he gives out a list. Well, he gives out the lists he has to everybody, so everybody's working the same list. That's kind of ridiculous to me, right? I mean, talk about guaranteed saturation. That's nuts. That's why we have you guys go get your own list. But apparently he does like an hour mentoring a month or something like that. Guys, we have our live question and answer webinars twice a month. You're welcome to come to those. Usually there's a sign up on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. You all can also sometimes see announcements on that on our YouTube page. Surplus Funds Riches, all one word, is our YouTube channel. And you can sign up. That comes up. We usually tell you a couple days in front of it, but it's twice a month. It's live question and answer. And I'll tell you why that's even better than like a one-on-one. Besides the fact that we have support, we have an email ticket system that Jeff handles, that he gets back very quickly. But besides that, the live question and answer webinars are exciting because people ask questions that you don't think to ask. Okay? And it's a wide open, newbies, people that are experienced, all that. So that makes a big difference. And that's why we do it the way we do it. Other people have asked, why don't you have a blog? Well, we had a blog at one point. The problem we had with the blog was we found that having people on there talking with one another was great, but we spent all of our time going behind them and fixing the incorrect answers. There's a lot of chest thumpers out there that will say, oh no, that's not the way you do it. You do it this way, and this is the way it works. And we look at it, we go, that's not right. That you don't even know what the heck you're talking about, and we'd have to fix it. And it was just a waste of time, and we went straight to the support system that works a heck of a lot better for us, and the live question and answer webinars. Guys, I hope this has helped you guys. A couple things too. I get people that are doing due diligence and they're looking around. And they say, well, Sean, there's a couple problems I've got. You've got this video that goes really in depth, but all the checks are older. Well, if you go to our Facebook page, you'll see every once in a while we post checks. We don't do it all the time. But in that video is a couple of years old. So of course, I mean, we couldn't put checks on. I can't win. If I keep an old video on there, people go, oh, you're still in business? And look, it's old checks. Well, of course it's old checks. I couldn't have put a check from the future on there. What, are you kidding me? So if I take an old one off, then I look like we're brand new and we haven't been doing this for over a decade. If I leave an old one on, then look, it's dated, the checks, and come on, guys. Look on there, check our video, our actual page out, our channel, and you'll see we have new content going on all the time. We've been in business forever. Then they'll ask, why did you black out names? Well, sometimes those are checks that were taken, that we got, that we actually cashed. We didn't use the attorney's trust account. They were there came in the third-party name, somebody else's name. And I'm not going to put, Joseph Jehoshaphat's name. I'm not going to leave that on the check. What, are you kidding me? And of course I'm going to black out the account number. It's like putting your debit card number online. Are you nuts? So yeah, of course I do that. And I'm not making fun, guys. It's just sometimes I get questions where I go, what are you thinking? I think that's it. I mean, if you have any other questions, you're welcome to get in touch with me. I'm available with pre-purchase, just pre-purchase, guys. Use our support system if you've already purchased. But if it's pre-purchase, you're asking a question before you buy, I'm here to talk to you. Try to find that from anybody else. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, 704-791-9398. Thanks.